Whoa. I think I just figured something out, Beavis.
What?
This sucks.
Yeah, it really sucks.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. Obviously, we've known for quite some time that James Tynion is not long for DC Comics and Batman. He's actually going to be leaving the character by the end of the year. And we're going to get a new direction for Batman going forward with Joshua Williamson at least temporarily taking over. He is going to continue to release Joker after that until that miniseries completes. Me personally, I'm not all that sad about it. I don't really like James Tynion's Batman. If you've been following the channel, I think most of you know that. And I'd actually stopped reading James Tynion's Batman. I really wasn't interested, and I was glad to get rid of it. But now that I'm doing This Week in Batman with my good friend Josh McDonald from BatmanNews.com and PopByCulture.com, obviously we got to read the flagship title, Batman. And obviously we are in the Fear State event. This is the second event that James Tynion has been a part of since he took over Batman at issue number 86 after Tom King. He is very blessed, in my opinion, to be taking over the reins from Tom King. Tom King, after Batman 50, after 55, where he destroyed Dick Grayson, after the Nightmare story arc in City of Bane, were all so disappointing. And people were so eager for Tom King to leave that the next Batman writer was probably the easiest gig in all of comics. You literally didn't have to do much other than not screw up Batman for people to probably say this is good. And I think that's been a lot of the reception, at least initially, to James Tynion's Batman. The designer story was okay. I did not like City of Bane at all. But in defense of James Tynion, he wasn't supposed to be writing Batman after that. He was supposed to stop at Batman 100, and they were going to relaunch it with a new Batman and a new writer, John Ridley. But the sales took off, specifically once people got word of Punchline, and we started to see that character, and then she was first introduced, and the sales was like, boom, they spiked right back up kind of to pre-Batman 50 numbers. That DC Comics probably made the right choice. You've rebounded the title. Why bring in a new writer when it feels like people are enjoying what James Tynion's doing, and he's increased the sales? So they made the right choice in giving him the keys to Batman. But he didn't have any long-term plans, and I think we're continuing to see this. I don't think he's done a lot of long-term building or storytelling. And congratulations to James Tynion and DC Comics for doing good sales. That doesn't mean, because other people enjoy this, that I have to like it. And I'm convinced, and I'm not just convinced, I know that it's not like I'm in the overwhelming minority on this one. If you go to comicbookroundup.com, which is like the Rotten Tomatoes of comic books, basically where it just brings in all the critic scores in their reviews, and then it has another section for fan reviews, and they got to come in there and they get to score it, and you get an aggregate score from critics and fans. For the most part, fans are pretty forgiving unless you're like Brian Bendis or Tom King. Otherwise, you get dumped on pretty good. But even Jason Aaron doesn't get all that crapped on in comicbookroundup.com. So a score under like 7.5 for a comic book from the readers that doesn't happen a whole lot. Like, you don't have to write a good comic book to exceed that score. And it's been since March since James Tynion's Batman has scored any reader review aggregates over 7.5. And a lot of times he's actually dipped below 7, which is crazy for a quite frankly inoffensive comic book like Batman. But I think a lot of people are actually fed up and having a lot of the same issues that I'm experiencing with James Tynion's Batman. So I'm going to name off kind of the 3 big overarching reasons that I personally do not like what his Batman is. And I do touch on these in This Week in Batman when we talk about his Batman run, but I never really I don't ever have enough time to really get into the details and really what my issues are and explain them all. So I think people get my opinions in bits and pieces and sometimes misconstrue it. So I want to lay it out perfectly clear the 3 big reasons that I think James Tynion's Batman sucks. And then I'm actually going to name off some things that I like about what he's done, because it's not all been bad. Certainly not. He's better than Tom King. So that's one good thing, right? But that was such a low bar to exceed. Almost anybody was going to be able to do that, right? I think the only writer that they could have brought in to replace Tom King that people wouldn't have been receptive to in a positive way would have been Brian Michael Bendis. That's just my opinion. Now let's get into these reasons that I personally think his Batman run sucks. Number 1, and I've certainly talked about this, but it's time to expand on it. He's far too slow a writer. His Batman is painfully slow at times, especially once he gets to where he wants to be. He just sits there. In my opinion, James Tynion is a notoriously slow, decompressed storyteller. He doesn't write for trades. He writes for the omnibus. I've talked about this on the channel, and that works for something with like horror atmosphere, horror characteristics, like a Something Is Killing the Children, which I still think is too decompressed. But I enjoy the slow bird storytelling on a Something Is Killing the Children far greater than I enjoyed on a Batman comic, which is supposed to be in high octane action based, superhero story. He's way too slow. And as I mentioned, once he's done with what he's doing, he just rushes to the next thing to get there, and then he just sits there. Like, we never even saw the build-up to Joker War. We got the designer story, we got the reveal that it was Joker all along. The next issue, the city's been taken over, and Batman's fucked. It's like, there's this enormous part of the story where Batman is defeated, and hopefully he's been taken off the board or something like that, to where these things were allowed to happen. Otherwise, it just makes it look like Batman's just a complete moron, and the entire Bat family are completely incompetent to just let the city be taken over by Joker and his entire gang, and to have it under lockdown to where not even the Justice League will come in and save him. And once he gets there, once he gets to that stupid Joker War story, he just sits there. It's like 6 issues and it doesn't move. You see the same story 2 or 3 times. Like, he ends up, he's fighting and Harley Quinn saves him. And he's fighting and Harley Quinn saves him and takes him to Poison Ivy. And we get this stupid thing in the movie theater. And he just sits there forever. Instead of just 6 issues sitting in this stagnant, boring place where a couple of things happen, you could always just make the damn thing 6 issues and lead up to it and then culminate it in 2 or 3, and it'll be a lot more exciting, in my opinion. There's just no build up, and literally there wasn't much build up to the Magistrate either. I mean, they were sowing the seeds. McConnell gets in, we got Simon Saint or whatever, and all of a sudden, boom, fucking city's taken over. you got people patrolling the streets, and nobody's safe, and Batman's outlawed. Like, there's no baby step, there's no story progression. It's just he gets there, and then once we've gotten to Fear State, at least within Batman, his what was that, Fear State Alpha, whatever it was called, that opening thing, that was all retread. We didn't get any new information other than I think somebody was imitating Oracle in that story. That's what you got for that $5 comic book. And since, it started up in Batman, nothing's happened. There's been one big fight between Peacekeeper 1 and Peacekeeper 10, Peacekeeper X, what you were to call it. And it's just Batman losing, which I'll get to here in a bit. It's just too slow. It's really boring. You got to put a little pep in your step, James Tynion, especially when you're writing a character like Batman in an action-based story. We see similar things in the Joker series that he's doing, but it's to a lesser degree. That story, plot-wise, hasn't progressed all that much. We still know that somebody's fighting him, but we don't know anything about her, and we got these people that are coming after Joker. There's been a confrontation, I believe, in Belize. The story feels less stagnant because they're changing locations. But, even there, in a better... in my opinion, a better executed plot and story that he's doing in the Joker, it's still pretty damn slow. And if you read Something That's Killing Children, that one's even slower, but I think it works because it's like horror scenes, but I think there was one fucking comic he wrote. It's a car ride. Like the entire comic is two people talking in a car. That's fucking boring. It's hard to forgive stuff like that. Unfortunately for him, Something Is Killing the Children fits better into his storytelling style, but it does not work for Batman at all, in my opinion. I know a lot of people like this. You and I are just going to have to disagree on what a superhero comic book is supposed to be. Another issue that he has, in my opinion, and we've seen this over and over, especially in this run, he's very fucking repetitive. It's the same stuff over and over. He's not even, City of Bane just completed, when he took over. That was the story that Tom King told before James Tynion took over. Within 6 issues, we're in Joker War. It's the same story, except Joker's taken over instead of Bane. The same exact story. Gotham once again is taken over, and Batman's a complete useless idiot. He said, well, what am I supposed to do? I took Gotham, but I don't know, man. Look like a complete moron. Here, we're already at Fear State again, his second big Batman event. His second Batman event is the same thing as his first event, except this time it's not Joker that's taken over. It's Scarecrow, using Nakano, and I don't know. I think Nakano's supposed to be a good guy now. I'm not really certain. And Simon Saint, but it's the same thing. Gotham's been taken over, and Batman's completely useless to stop. The same 3 stories, event stories, in less than like two and a half years. That's ridiculous. Get a new fucking idea, bro. Find something else to take away from Batman. He said he was taking his money. I was like, well, this will be a major change of the character. I'm not exactly in favor of this idea, but perhaps this will give him a new avenue to tell a new story. No, not really. He just did it so he wouldn't have to write a billionaire character permanently, I guess, because it bothered his feelings. Maybe done nothing with it. Fucking got to take Gotham over again. It's the only thing Bruce Wayne loves. Like, go kill one of his kids or something. Kill a Robin. Get a good murder mystery in there. Take them all hostage. Do something. God. Bring back, what is there? Vicky Vale. Let him fall in love with the new woman. Take her away. Who cares? Do something else. It's the same story over and over. Also, we're getting a lot of derivative characters. There isn't much difference of Punchline and Harley Quinn. I guess Harley Quinn has been redeemed and she doesn't like the Joker anymore, and she's in an on-again, off-again relationship with Poison Ivy now. And he wanted Joker to have a girlfriend again, so he made Punchline, who talks weird and dresses funny and apparently can kick everyone's ass. Sounds like Harley Quinn to me. Essentially the exact same character. Oh, okay, well, we're going to change her origin. Instead of her, being messed with by the Joker when she was her therapist, she's going to fall in love with the Joker ideology and make a podcast. Ooh, way to modernize the Harley Quinn story. Who cares? It's the same fucking character, with the new coat of paint on. There's nothing interesting or unique about that character. It's Harley Quinn with a new name and then a new coat of paint. Ghostmaker. Pretty damn similar to Hush. Batman's best friend from childhood that nobody ever knew about. No, he never thought about this dude or mentioned him his entire life, and all of a sudden he just shows up and he's his best friend ever. Obviously, Hush is a lot better because it was somewhat original. And you're in Ghostmaker. Okay, you're doing the same thing kind of they did with Hush. I guess he's maybe not a bad guy. Maybe he's a vigilante that's competing with Batman. Stop going back and changing his origin. Stop making best friends from when he was 5 years old. It's stupid. Make a new idea. You're just retreading the same shit over and over. Clown Hunter. Pretty damn close to Damian Wayne. Obviously, he's not his son, but we got a psychotic teenager that Batman's trying to, take the edge off of. Make him a little less murderous. Haven't seen that story before. Really? I mean, they're all derivative. They're all the same character. We haven't ever seen an eco-terrorist, right? That can, change the biology of things and Yeah, Poison Ivy never existed, so we needed the gardener. Okay, yeah, she's not, the logical character to take over for Swamp Thing as a Keeper of the Green. Otherwise, it's the same character. He even made them like girlfriends in college or something stupid like that. Yeah, we understood the gardener was just another version of Poison Ivy. You actually didn't have to make them fucking related. It's the same characters over and over. He's made a few things that are somewhat original. I really like the Underboss. I don't know that there's really a character in DC or Batman lore that really fits the Underboss. Obviously, he does seem like he came right out of John Wick, but whatever. At least he's somewhat original within DC Comics. I think that's the coolest character he's created. The designer wasn't bad, but he was just a plot device to bring Joker back in for Joker War. So it wasn't actually a fully fleshed out character, and it was just, like I said, it was a plot device. Miracle Molly, Mighty Molly, whatever her name is, definitely feels like a more original character. And the cyberpunk aesthetics of the character definitely fit in with what they were trying to set up in Future State of what Gotham was going to become eventually. But I don't exactly find, Magic Molly and the Unsanity Collective to be exactly compelling. Now that could be because I had already signed out of James Tynion's Batman, and I was like, this sucks by the time that character was ever introduced. Certainly wasn't compelling enough or good enough for me to go, you know what? Let me change my mind on this one. Or finally, something feels like it's changed. It's like, oh, great. Another worthless, brand new character that we didn't need. I don't know. Maybe like Magic Molly, not my cup of tea. And then the last thing is probably the worst part of it. And this isn't just a James Tynion problem. This was a Tom King problem. This is a lot of people's problem. Batman's just a complete loser nowadays. Let's forget the fact that he's lost a city 3 times in less than 3 years. Joker conned Catwoman into stealing all of his money and gave it over to Lucius Fox, who refuses to give it back. So someone just took his money and his buddy won't even give it back. So that makes him a pretty big loser. As I mentioned, what was the point of that? I thought, the best case scenario when they did that was, well, we'll have less tech and gadgets and we'll get a more grounded, back to basics, old school detective. The world's greatest detective, fucking Batman. Nah, he just did it to show that he was a loser and he can't even stop people from stealing all of his billions of dollars. He doesn't even have a fucking lawyer. Then go out there and be like, listen, this money was clearly stolen. He didn't give $1 billion away. That would be pretty stupid, wouldn't it? Why would he give Lucius Fox $1 billion? Like, it feels like he could have you could undo that one pretty easy. It's the same stupid logic gap within that was it Dark Knight Rises. Like, it's going to take us a month to prove that what are you talking about? All those transactions are there. They know you were a billionaire the day before. Why would you be a billionaire the next day? That's stupid. And I mentioned Harley Quinn saves Batman no less than 3 times in Joker War. Recently, guess who is the character that discovered Scarecrow's plan and how to thwart it? Fucking Magic Molly. Not the world's greatest detective Batman. The dude's a complete loser now. He couldn't save Alfred. He can't save his city. He couldn't keep himself from getting robbed. He can't keep himself from getting beat up left and right most of the time. He's constantly having to be saved by lesser characters who aren't even heroes. And it's pathetic. It's not a lot of fun to read. Sure, he wins a skirmish against regular thugs, but anytime he comes up against anybody else, he just loses. Even fucking Joker beat him up essentially in hand-to-hand combat at the end of Joker War. Pathetic. Joker you could cut both of Batman's ankles, feet off at the ankles, and cut off one of his arms. He would still kick Joker's ass. It's not even a contest. But according to James Tynion, Joker can kick his ass. And that one gets me the most frustrated. Batman's a lot of things, but he's not a loser. He can be overcome and he can be sidetracked. He can be put off the trail, but he can't be defeated. He doesn't need to be saved constantly. certainly have a family member come and save him every once in a while. But it's constant. He's a complete loser. And that's too bad. Batman should be a lot bigger than that, considering he is the flagship character of all comics. As I mentioned earlier, it's not all bad. There are some things that definitely like about James Tynion's Batman run. First off is the fucking art. The art by Jorge Jimenez has been spectacular. The fact that he has been able to take these boring ass stories and make them look so good, like $1 million damn dollars, is a testament to Jorge Jimenez and his craft and skill as a comic book artist. He literally has taken chicken shit and made chicken salad on a bi-weekly basis while illustrating under James Tynion as a writer. Obviously, he doesn't illustrate everything. Even when they had the fill-in artist, Guillaume March, who's doing the Joker series, that stuff looked great. Completely different from Jorge Jimenez. Like, their Jokers don't look the same, but the Guillaume March stuff looked great too. So he has been very blessed. We've gotten phenomenal art with James Tynion as the Batman writer. I absolutely will give credit to him saying it's time to bring Dick Grayson back. Rick Grayson was an absolute failure. It's time to bring Dick Grayson back as Nightwing and get rid of that abomination. James Tynion said he was going to do that the day that they announced that he was the Batman writer, and he fucking did it. Congratulations, sir. Kudos to you. I also like that he brought back Barbara Gordon as Oracle. That's the best version of Barbara Gordon, in my opinion. We saw her put on the Batgirl uniform the last issue of Nightwing, but for the most part, she's been Oracle. It fits the character. I think that they could make her a bit more interesting than we've seen so far, but it's a good start, and that's the role that she deserved to be in. And also, thank you very much for letting Bruce and Selena Kyle go on a break. I'm so tired of seeing these characters together. Yes, every once in a while they do meet up and they kiss and they, oh, I'm so lost without you. I'm so sad. But it's usually for 2 or 3 pages, and then they fuck off away from each other for another 4 or 5 issues, which is heaven sent. And it's been nothing but good for seeing Selena Kyle as Catwoman. That Catwoman series with her taking over Alleytown is this. It's the second best Batman comic outside of Robin, in my opinion. It's been heaven sent for that character. It's given Ramby the opportunity that he needed to go in there and really do something great with the character and the setting. And that felt different, but also it's in Gotham, but it's different. And that has been fantastic. And it's definitely helped the Batman series. I'm so tired of those two. I hope they never see each other again. I know that's not going to happen, but that would make me happy. So thank you very much for James Tynion for not trying to bring these two together and reconcile this stupid, terrible relationship that they've been in for far too long. I never want to hear the term Batcat ever again in my life. So there's 3 big reasons that I think James Tynion's Batman has been a failure, why I don't like it, and why I think the shine is worn off, and a lot of people have come to somewhat the same conclusion that I have, that James Tynion Batman actually kind of sucks. And there are a few good things out there. Obviously, the art, the return of Dick Grayson and Oracle, and the fact that he's kept Bruce Wayne and Selena Kyle at arm's length. Just don't ever let them see each other again. That's how I see it. How do you see it?